Welcome back. We continue to watch the deliberations that are taking place right now in Georgia as attorneys on both sides present their case. But we also want to update you on the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Jurors will have one less count to consider now. The judge, as you know, tossing out that illegal gun possession charge. Rittenhouse pleading not guilty to charges of killing two people and wounding another during protests following the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Jacob Blake being shot in the back 7 times. We will continue to follow that case as well. And as we find out from the jury what the verdict is, we will bring that to you live on BNC. But let's take a closer look at what happened yesterday in court. BNC's chief legal analyst, Laura McNeal, is here now. And Laura, the jurors in the Arbery family listened as the medical examiner described how Ahmaud died. Ahmaud's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, says it was a difficult day, but she thinks the state did a good job. Take a listen.
I think the prosecution, the legal team, presented a very strong case. They were able to give very detailed information on what actually happened on Ahmaud on the day that he was murdered. It's now time to hear what the defense has, and I'm very eager, very anxious to see what they have as a defense, because clearly Ahmaud was murdered for no apparent reason.
So, Laura, that being said, the prosecution has rested its case. How did they do?
I thought the prosecution did a stellar job, to be quite frank. Definitely their star witness was Dr. Donahue. That was that forensic pathologist. And he really, for the jury, showed the brutality of the killing of Ahmaud Arbery. We all gasped as we saw the pictures of the size of the bullet holes through his chest, and hearing how his last minutes were as he was falling to the ground. He had bruises on his face because he was unconscious. So overall, the prosecution did a great job showing the brutality of the crime, as well as showing that Ahmaud Arbery was never the aggressor, that Ahmaud Arbery, to the contrary, was simply running for his life as he was pursued by Travis McMichaels, Greg McMichaels, and Rhodey Bryant.
I'm curious, as we were listening to the defense motions this morning, that is perfunctory in trials, that they try to get the judge to dismiss counts before they even begin their case. But are you starting to see cracks in the defense, the unified defense mechanism of representing all three as if nothing bad happened and they were all doing a citizen's arrest?
Yes, we're seeing that today in these motions for directed verdict, and seeing how the defense is really actually struggling, for instance, to justify that Rhodey Bryant was simply trying to document what happened. He wasn't trying to be involved in any way in aiding and abetting the citizen's arrest, let alone the shooting of Ahmaud Arbery. But that's really difficult for the defense to establish when Rhodey Bryant, in his own words in that deposition, talked about using his vehicle to block off Ahmaud Arbery, who was trying to run away from harm. And so we're seeing a lot of weaknesses in the defense's case, and so that's a good thing for the prosecution. If you were their attorney, would you advise any of the 3 men to testify on their own behalf? You know, I wouldn't make that judgment call just yet. Typically, as a defense attorney, we're going to wait until the end of the trial, meaning we want to see how our case has folded out or unfolded, how the jury has responded to our witnesses. You only want to put the defendant on as a last-ditch effort, because that can go very bad or very good. As we are hearing the prosecution rebut what the defense says with regards to how they want counts dropped, it is apparent that one of the things that they will argue is that no one on the defense side, none of the 3 white men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery, said, for instance, stop or let him go, or, for instance, said, we're going to call the police. Are you starting to see now that if the defense decides they want to try that as a citizen's arrest, the prosecution seems to be prepared to say, no, that's not how it works? Yes, I think the prosecution is going to demolish them, to be quite honest, if they put them on that stand, because not only did they try to call 911, they did not even try to render aid. To the contrary, they sat there and allowed him to die in a pool of blood. And so I think it will be, again, a big mistake for the defense to move forward. What about citizen's arrest? Does it give them cover?
Not at all. The one thing about citizens arrest, one of the core principles is that you have to rely on, the McMichaels have to demonstrate that they had reasonable suspicion that a crime was being committed in their presence. And based on everything we've seen, I think that's a very hard standard for them to be able to prove. And, you know, I think I'm hearing that Dray Clark has some additional details as well as what's going on there.
Laura McNeal, our chief legal analyst here at BNC. Laura, as always, thank you very much. I want to go now to BNC's Dray Clark, who has been inside the courtroom and outside the courtroom in Brunswick, Georgia since day one. He's outside right now. Dray, your thoughts on what you heard Laura say, which is that it appears that the defense is starting to crumble as far as that unified front is concerned.
Well, remember that Kevin Goff had indicated before testimony really got underway a few weeks ago that he was considering actually what they call severing William Bryan, or separating him from the other two. It's also known that the prosecution did a really fantastic job of using the defendant's own words against them. And of course, we know that video is very telling. So it's not surprising that the defense is really having a hard time maintaining a solid case, because going into the testimony today, we know that they're up against a lot of evidence because of what the defendant said to investigators immediately after that shooting happened.
Dray, I noticed that Ahmaud Arbery's father is back in the courtroom today. He came in as Kevin Goff was talking. But yesterday, a very emotional day with regards to the family. How are they doing?
It's tough. It's tough. Yesterday was a really tough day because they had to listen to the medical examiner explain how Ahmaud Arbery spent the last moments of his life, and the medical examiner, the forensics pathologist who performed the autopsy on Arbery's body, was very detailed. And then, of course, the only way to illustrate the significance of the injuries to Ahmaud Arbery's body was to show pictures of his dead body in the courtroom. That was tremendously difficult for both of his parents to sit back and watch again. On one hand, they understand the necessity of showing those pictures in court, but that's still their son that they're looking at. And yesterday, even some of the jurors had a hard time looking at those pictures of Ahmaud Arbery's body.